All right, guys. With that all down, let's get things started here today, shall we? We're going to start off with this. We've been talking a lot over the last couple of weeks about the unbelievable success of the Odyssey. It is well on its way now to becoming only the third R-rated film in cinematic history to join the $1 billion club. As a matter of fact, it has just become the fastest film, Spider-Man notwithstanding, but the fastest film out of any of the $1 billion films so far this year to hit the $900 million mark, which it did this weekend. We go over and take a look at the numbers. It took Michael 47 days to get to $900 million. It took the Super Mario Galaxy movie 24 days to get to the $900 million mark. It took Toy Story 5 20 days to get to the $900 million mark. Those films, all three of them, remember, are $1 billion films. Toy Story, Super Mario, Michael, all of them $1 billion films. And the Odyssey got there in 17 days, beating Michael by a full month, beating the Super Mario Galaxy movie by over a week, and beating Toy Story 5 by 3 days. Now, of course, the new entry into the arena is Spider-Man Brand New Day, which hit over $900 million in just 3 days, but it's not a $1 billion film yet, so that'll join that club here probably by Wednesday or so. So 17 days. And listen, I don't want you guys to lose track or lose sight about how ridiculous of an achievement that is, okay? Because on its third weekend, with Spider-Man Brand New Day, which just set an all-time record, we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. With Spider-Man Brand New Day opening on its first weekend to record numbers and Odyssey on its third weekend, even people who believed in Odyssey thought, like me, that, okay, it's been doing great, but it's going to slow down a hell of a lot when Spider-Man opens, right? Maybe not. The Odyssey on Spider-Man's opening weekend made $51 million.
Insane.
On its third weekend, with Spider-Man opening, and it still made $51 million. You want to put that in context of how ridiculous that is? When Avengers Endgame opened, the next best movie was $8 million. It was Captain Marvel in its 8th week. Then La Curse of La Leona, Breakthrough, Shazam, Dumbo. Basically, no other movie could gather more than $8 million when Avengers Endgame opened, and we thought, well, of course, because Endgame made $357 million on its opening weekend. Of course, nothing else made any money. And then the Odyssey said, hold my beer, or in this case, hold my mead. Made $51 million on Spider-Man. It made more money on its third weekend with Spider-Man Brand New Day opening than most movies make in their opening weekends at all, gentlemen. Now, the story of today is clearly going to be Spider-Man, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But when I saw that number of the Odyssey making $51 million on its third weekend with Spider-Man opening to 360, I at first thought it's a typo. That's a mistake.
Like it must be.
It's got to be wrong. Now, granted, when I went to go see Spider-Man twice, the Odyssey theaters were full, granted. But, I mean, I still thought that can't quite be $51 million. No, it's been verified. $51 million on its third weekend.
Domestic, which is, we're not domestic, global.
Right.
Which, as we were just pointing out a little bit earlier, that means the Odyssey has now hit $397,415 in just after its third weekend. This is an R-rated film. And again, I don't think you can stress enough here the fact that only 2 R-rated films in history have ever joined the $1 billion club. And the Odyssey is clearly about to cross that mark. And by the way, guys, I don't often take the Chinese box office into account because it doesn't actually, in the grand scheme of things, with a lot of Hollywood films, it doesn't actually add that much, at least not as much as people think. I did an entire editorial on it once. But it hasn't opened in China yet, and they are estimating, while not a massive number, they're estimating for it to make between 100 and 130 million dollars in China. So if they pulled the Odyssey out of all North American theaters today, it's probably still going to cross the $1 billion mark. So it is looking like 1.2, 1.3 billion dollars could be on the radar. Anyway, Rob, you know, we've asked this question before, but I think it needs to be asked again here. The Odyssey didn't just open big, it's showing remarkable legs. 51 million bucks on its third weekend with Spider-Man opening. What is it about this film that is just bringing these people back? And now that we have a little bit more perspective, how big do you think the movie could end up being? What do you think?
Well, again, I mean, you were always so right in it when you called movies experiential events. And I think that the Odyssey was conceived of as being one of, if not the greatest experiential event, one of the greatest. I mean, you know, I don't remember a filmmaker, Stanley Kubrick, when he made 2001, really wanted to transport audiences in ways they had never seen before. And he did that. And I think what Christopher Nolan has done, making a film for the very first time entirely in IMAX, going out and filming on these amazing locations in places that were not necessarily easily gotten to, using practical effects even to create a giant Cyclops, or creating giants to fight in armor and men turning into pigs. And he gave us a level of verisimilitude that's seldom seen in the movies. And I think, you know, people want that. I think Hollywood too, they underestimate the power of the transportive nature of what cinema can actually be. And while, yeah, they think that visual effects and CG and spectacle is what people want, but what they also want is they want to have an emotional experience as well. They want to feel that. And when you go to a Christopher Nolan movie, even, look, I don't love Tenet, but that movie's mesmerizing to watch because it's all real locations. There's all kinds of crazy stuff that happens in that movie, and you know what you're watching. They did it, like, for real. And there's even a shot in Tenet that's similar to the building coming down in the Battle of Troy, that I love. You know, building collapses and you see Matt Damon look behind him as the building collapses. And you know they did that for real. And you feel it. And I think, you know, what are human beings? What do we want? We crave experience. And when you go to see a Christopher Nolan movie, I think you emerge a bit transformed. And obviously, this is one of the great timeless tales that has defined Western civilization for millennia. And I think that people, they feel they feel the authenticity of Nolan and his vision. You might not like his adaptation of the Odyssey. You might not like some of his choices, but you know that Nolan is going to give you an experience you've never had in the cinema before. And I think people have come to believe that of him through 20 years of great work. And that's why they go. Anybody who likes movies feels, I got to go to this. I got to see this in the theater the way he intended for me to see it. And that's what people are doing.
There's a stickiness to it too, because again, you can't be an R-rated film that's this big. Again, when you gather all the films that have already crossed $1 billion this year, the Odyssey is outpacing all of them. And you can't get to that point unless there are a decent number of people going back for second and third screenings, bringing people back to go watch it. So this is like one of those films that you use the word mesmerizing, and that's a great, Anne and I've seen it multiple times, and you see and appreciate different details every time. But anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? When Avengers Endgame opened, no other movie could muster more than $8 million at the box office because Endgame ate up all the money. Spider-Man just set an all-time record, and the Odyssey still made $51 million on its third weekend, now crossing 900 million, fastest to do so out of the billion-dollar films, obviously not faster than Spider-Man. But why do you think that is the case? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. Oh, by the way, guys, as a side note here, with Spider-Man breaking that record, it just should be noted that Spider-Man and Odyssey combined have now set the new record for the biggest overall weekend at the box office in the history of movies. The Odyssey and Spider-Man now have combined to create the biggest single weekend at the box office overall in movie history, which I think is pretty notable. Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, Mars Men. Guys, you know that one of the frustrating things about getting older is realizing that the things that used to come naturally suddenly require a lot more effort. You wake up tired, workouts feel harder, recovery takes longer, and by the middle of the afternoon, your energy and focus can completely disappear. And that's where Mars Men comes in. Mars Men is designed to support healthy testosterone levels, natural energy, and stamina using 8 clinically dosed ingredients. There are absolutely no synthetics or needles, and it's made in the USA and third-party tested. Some men report steadier energy, stronger workouts, and better recovery, and it comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee. For a limited time, our listeners get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support the John Campea Show and tell them we sent you.